It's fascinating because the capacity for violence and the capacity for aggression is one of the things that's been actively muted in our male population.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of reasons for that, and some of them turn into positive feedback loops, like there's sort of self-fulfilling prophecies. So there's a lot of women out there who've never had a positive relationship with any male in their life, right? And maybe not only not a positive relationship, but really a series of pretty negative relationships. And so women like that are very leery of any expression of male ability of any sort, because they can't distinguish productive competence from arbitrary power. And because they're trying to defend themselves because they've been hurt repeatedly, maybe they come from broken families and catastrophically arranged neighborhoods, one of the tactics that can be used in that situation is just to try to do everything you can to distance yourself as much as you can from any display of male ability, because it can't be distinguished from psychopathy. It can't be distinguished from the use of power. It takes a sophisticated woman to be able to make that distinction. So the other thing you see too is that young women are much more likely to be seduced by psychopaths than older women, because the psychopaths mimic competence. That's what a narcissist does too. They're confident, and women read confidence as a marker of competence, and that's reasonable. But that opens up it opens up a space for exploitation, because if you can mimic confidence, that's false confidence, narcissistic false confidence, then you look competent, and that works particularly well on naive young women. And of course, they get exploited by people like that, and they think, well, that's what men are like.
Right.
Yeah. And then women like that, they have boys, and then they're afraid of the boys whenever they express anything looking like masculine competence, and they basically emasculate the boys, and then the boys get bitter, and then they mistreat women, and the whole bloody thing just spirals out of control. And that's where we are.
That's where we are. What a strange place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, unintended consequence of familial breakdown. That's a huge part of it.
So we decided to have this conversation because of what's going on with you in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
And that your clinical psychology license is in jeopardy because you have opinions about politics that they disagree with, which is a very dangerous and bizarre turn of events.
Well, it's your fault, actually. I told you, I think, a week or so ago when we talked about this. Okay, so let me give you some background here. So
I want to know how it's my fault.
I will. I'll tell you. A lot of things are your fault, as it turns out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So the College of Psychologists has basically levied what are equivalent to about 13 lawsuits against me simultaneously. Now, the reason I call them lawsuits is because they're actions undertaken on behalf of a complainant. Now, the complainant can be anyone anywhere in the world who complains about me for any reason. They don't have to be former clients. They don't even have to be anybody I've ever met. They don't even have to have met anybody I've ever met. So,
So it could be someone online.
Well, it is. All these complaints are someone online. None of them are my clients, although half of them claim to be falsely, and the college didn't throw out their complaints despite that. So, which is really quite interesting.
And what are the complaints?
Well, okay, let's see. The one complaint is about the tweet I made about Ellen or Elliot Page, and when I said that a criminal physician cut off her breasts and that pride was the sin. So now I'm in trouble again because I just said the same thing. One was about Sports Illustrated cover where they featured that overweight model, and I tweeted out "not beautiful," and I guess that was something like fat shaming. I don't remember exactly what the charge was. And then I criticized Justin Trudeau and a former staff member of Justin Trudeau and Jacinda Ardern. I made a joke about her. I was going to New Zealand, and the New Zealand leftist press was freaking out, and I made this joke about bringing my alt-right trolls to New Zealand, and then I put in parentheses, or maybe they're just, ordinary people who are trying to clean up their rooms. So apparently that was casting the profession into disgrace. And then they submitted, one complainant from the U.S. submitted the entire transcript of our last discussion. So, I don't know how to defend myself against that, because apparently everything I say, and apparently everything you say too, is bringing the profession of psychology into disgrace. And I think they're most upset in that case about my comments about the inadequacy of climate models. And so, what that has to do with my clinical practice is questionable to say the least. And so, anyways, does that cover it?